India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Sarabjit Kaur and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav. The headlines. India and Bangladesh ink 7 agreements. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladesh counterpart Sheikh Hasina jointly inaugurate 1,320 megawatt Maitri power plant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address plenary session of Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, Russia today. Government to make seatbelts mandatory for all car passengers. India's first intranasal corona vaccine gets emergency use authorization from DCGI. ED raids 30 locations in Delhi, Mumbai, Gurugram and Hyderabad in connection with Delhi liquor scam. India and UK conduct counter-ransomware exercise for 26 nations. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on 4-day visit to Japan today for second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial meeting. Harmanpreet Singh nominated for FIH Player of Year Award, PR Srijesh and Savita Punya shortlisted in goalkeepers category. Suresh Raina announces retirement from all formats of cricket, and in Asia Cup, Sri Lanka beat India by 6 wickets in crucial Super 4 stage clash in Dubai. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina held bilateral talks in New Delhi to review and further strengthen the all-encompassing India-Bangladesh partnership. Two leaders jointly unveiled Unit 1 of the Maitri Super Thermal Power Project following bilateral and delegation-level talks in Delhi. The project is being constructed under India's concessional financing scheme. It will add 1,320 megawatt to Bangladesh's national grid. 7 MOUs, including on water resources, railways, science and technology, space technology, were exchanged following the talks. This includes MOU between Prasar Bharati and Bangladesh Television on cooperation in the field of broadcasting. In his press statement, Prime Minister Modi announced that an important agreement on water sharing from the Kushiara River has been signed. This will benefit southern Assam in India and Sylhet region in Bangladesh. He pointed out that there are 54 rivers that pass through the Indo-Bangladesh border and have been linked to the livelihood of the people of both the countries for centuries. Mr. Modi said that they also stressed on cooperation against terrorism and fundamentalism. He expressed confidence that India and Bangladesh ties will touch new heights.
अंतरिक्ष और न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी जैसे सेक्टर में भी सहयोग बढ़ाने का निश्चय किया, जो हमारी युवा पीढ़ियों के लिए रुचि रखती है। हम जलवायु परिवर्तन और सुंदरबन जैसी साझा धरोहर को संरक्षित रखने पर भी सहयोग जारी रखेंगे। हमने कुशियारा नदी से जल बंटवारे पर एक महत्वपूर्ण समझौते पर हस्ताक्षर किए। इससे भारत में दक्षिण असम और बांग्लादेश में सिलहट क्षेत्र को लाभ होगा। फ्लड मिटिगेशन के संबंध में सहयोग बढ़ाने पर भी मेरी और प्रधानमंत्री शेख हसीना जी की उपयोगी बातचीत हुई है। भारत बांग्लादेश के साथ रियल टाइम आधार पर बाढ़ संबंधित डेटा साझा करता रहा है। मैत्री थर्मल पावर प्लांट की पहली यूनिट के अनावरण से बांग्लादेश में एफोर्डेबल बिजली की उपलब्धता बढ़ेगी।
Speaking to media on the occasion, the Bangladesh Prime Minister said India is a friend and recalled the contribution India has made during the liberation war of her nation. She hoped that today's discussion will be fruitful and added that the main aim is to develop economically and also fulfill the basic needs of people.
Long-standing friendship and continued cooperation. I appreciate Modi ji's visionary leadership that continue to provide added momentum to our bilateral relations. I reiterate that India is the most important closest neighbor for Bangladesh. Bangladesh-India bilateral relations are known to be a role model for neighborhood diplomacy. Having forged a strong partnership over the last 50 years, both countries are working on an increasingly wide range of issues of mutual interest. And I and Prime Minister Modi ji agree to work together in the spirit of friendship and partnership.
Later, briefing media in New Delhi, Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra said Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladesh counterpart Sheikh Hasina held extensive and productive discussions including political and security cooperation, energy partnership, water conservation and trade and economic ties. Mr. Quatra said there was a strong agreement between the two leaders on the significance of further strengthening bilateral and sub-regional cooperation. Both the leaders unveiled and inaugurated important development projects including Unit 1 of the Maitri Super Thermal Power Project and the 5.13-kilometer Rupsha Rail Bridge, which is a key part of the 64.7-kilometer Khulna-Mongla Port Broad Gauge Rail Project.
Both leaders underscored the importance of continuing our security cooperation in the fields of counterterrorism, border management, and addressing cross-border crimes. They agreed to further enhance our development partnership, including upgradation of railway infrastructure projects in Bangladesh. Both leaders agreed to build resilient supply chains between both countries and across the region. Both leaders have directed the concerned ministries to commence negotiations on a bilateral comprehensive economic partnership agreement, CEPA, this year in 2022.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver a video address today at the plenary session of the Eastern Economic Forum 2022 being held in Russia's Vladivostok. Prime Minister Modi was the chief guest at the EEF in 2019. The 7th Eastern Economic Forum got underway on a Monday with participants from more than 60 countries. The theme of this year is the path to a multipolar world. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari has said that wearing a seat belt will now be mandatory for all passengers travelling in the car. Mr. Gadkari said this during a function in New Delhi. He said in the next 3 days the government will issue orders in this regard. Mr. Gadkari said that if any passenger travelling in the vehicle does not wear seat belt, sitting at the front or the rear seat in a car, then the person will be penalized.
That because of this Cyrus accident, we have taken a decision that there will be that clip. तो सामने बेल्ट का आवाज आता है, लगाया नहीं तो पीछे वाले भी नहीं लगाएंगे तो भी वो चिल्लाते रहेंगे, आवाज आता रहेगा. तो पीछे और सामने दोनों को बेल्ट लगाना पड़ेगा. So we are now and the driver near driver seat, if you don't have belt, there is a fine. Now even the back people also, if they don't take belt, we will fine them. Already yes, I clear it. 3 days we will issue now. That is in the law. There are a lot of discretion. This is a subject in concurrently, and there is a penalty from one amount to higher. It can be decided by the competent authority and state government.
The government's move comes in the wake of recent death of former Tata Sons chairperson Cyrus Mistry in a tragic car accident on Sunday.
The Enforcement Directorate has conducted raids in connection with the Delhi excise policy scam. Searches were conducted in Delhi NCR as well as in Lucknow, Chandigarh, Mumbai, Hyderabad and other cities. The ED case is based on the CBI FIR in this matter. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia is among the 15 accused named in the FIR filed by the CBI. The FIR was lodged for alleged violation of rules and procedural lapses in the new liquor policy. BJP has been criticizing the Aam Aadmi Party government for alleged irregularities in the implementation of the policy. India's first intranasal COVID vaccine developed by Bharat Biotech has received approval for restricted use in emergency situation among people aged above 18 years. In a tweet, Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has termed this feat as a big boost to India's fight against COVID-19. He informed that Bharat Biotech's recombinant nasal vaccine has been approved by Central Drug Standard Control Organization for primary immunization against COVID-19 in above 18 years age group for restricted use in emergency situation. Talking to AIR News, Chairman COVID Task Force N.K. Arora said this vaccine will be more effective in the fight against the COVID-19 infection.
Yesterday, the regulators approved the first Indian nasal vaccine for COVID-19. This is one of the very few global achievements which India has achieved in its fight against COVID. The vaccine is given as few nasal drops and provides protection against the COVID infection. It is expected that this vaccine is likely to be more effective in preventing the transmission of virus because the virus enters into human body through nose and lungs. Another dimension of this is that currently this vaccine is for primary dosing schedule, those who have not received the vaccine so far. But soon the vaccine will also be available as a precaution dose.
Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has said that there is no proposal to merge NEET, JEE and CUET. Interacting with the coaching students in Kota, Rajasthan, he said that no such proposal is under consideration as of now and students should prepare for entrance exams without any stress. Regarding the statement of UGC chairman merging all three national level exams, Mr. Pradhan said, if such a major change will happen, it will be publicly announced well in advance. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla was also present at the occasion. In Morning Matters, now let us listen to a discussion on PM Shri Yojana and the new education policy. The participants are Dr. J.S. Rajput, former Director, NCERT, and Sonu Sood's AIR correspondent.
On the occasion of Teachers' Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the PM Shri Pradhan Mantri Schools for Rising India scheme, wherein 14,500 schools across India will be selected and upgraded to be future ready. Mr. Rajput, can you tell us about the significance of the new PM Shri initiative for the education ecosystem of our country?
I view the opening of these PM Shri schools will be fully equipped to implement every aspect of the National Education Policy 2020. And once teachers visit them, these will become leadership schools, and that, I think, could be the spirit behind opening of these schools. When Kendriya Vidyalayas were opened, people said this will create a lot of differences. Similarly, when the Navodaya Vidyalayas were opened, people said, why only few hundred, why only around 1,000 or so? My point is, yes, you cannot suddenly bring every school to the level of, say, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan or the Navodaya Vidyalaya. But you can certainly create places where people can be inspired, prepared, and when they go back, they bring about the changes in their own schools.
What is the likely criteria for selection of these schools? You feel they will be uniformly distributed across the geography of our country?
The criteria would certainly take into account where do we need to improve the schools more, where do we are more deficient in our school system, and therefore places where that type of things will be into consideration. So you cannot say that we shall distribute on the population basis or this. I would suggest that I have to consider how much leadership these schools can provide to improve more and more schools. If Prime Minister has said that the central government will upgrade 14,500 schools, let states also come up that, well, we will also come up with, say, 500, 200, 100 or 1,000 schools. But there should be a genuine upgradation, not a political upgradation.
You feel that the role of the teaching community in bringing about these changes in pedagogy will be very, very important, and openness to adopt change, a progressive mindset among teachers is crucial for this movement?
Teachers will make all the difference. And this, I would like to say that, yes, teachers have to be prepared, teachers have to be assured that they will get the respect, they will get the honor, they will get all the opportunities for professional development and growth. Let us be very clear that teacher recruitment should be the priority of all state governments. My point is, let this scheme become the ignition point for restoring the credibility of the government schools.
So do you feel that benefiting from the practical experience of the PM Shri schools in identifying and meeting the various challenges in becoming model schools, lakhs of schools from across the country will be able to adopt NEP 2020 and adapt themselves much more smoothly and efficiently?
Think of the central schools and Navodaya schools. They have become model for so many others. They have established a credibility. The numbers are limited. It's difficult to get admissions, but there is a model. And if you see the products of these schools, they have established a name for themselves in various ways. So there is an example before us that if we are able to provide the right type of education in the right type of environment and with correct pedagogy, that is very important. I'm very happy to know that mention has been made that these schools will also be green. And while there may be only 14,500, but I'm sure at least every school of this will be able to impress upon 10, 20, 30, 40, even 100 schools around the area. But that will require full slot of teachers being available in those schools which we expect to be improved upon this. Basic minimum facilities being provided. They continue with a poor teacher-taught ratio. If they do not appoint regular teachers, how can you expect a 25-year young person drawing a very small amount, not knowing what will happen to him after at the end of the next session? Uncertainty doesn't allow him to devote fully to his task, and therefore in our system he requires the regularity of the job, assurance that I will be working, that one can devote, and these young persons are being wasted by our system by calling them Shiksha Karmi and others. That can be discussed in detail elsewhere, but my point is these PMC schools will succeed in transforming other schools. That is their job. Performing well and getting good results is not minor task of these schools. The major task is to become influencers, to bring out practices which the state can adopt as a whole. That type of situation could develop in next 2-3 years once this scheme takes shape and comes in the right perspective.
Thank you so much for this detailed analysis and throwing light on various aspects of this new PM Shri initiative. Thank you, Dr. Rajput.
Thank you so much.
BJP Chief JP Nadda and Union Minister and Senior Party Leader Amit Shah held a meeting with key party leaders and union ministers at party headquarters in New Delhi yesterday. The meeting deliberated to chalk out a roadmap for 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Several union ministers, including Bhupendra Yadav, Smriti Irani, Anurag Thakur, Giriraj Singh, Dr. Virendra Kumar, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Prahlad Joshi, attended the meeting. In Jammu and Kashmir, 2 Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists were killed in an encounter with security forces in Poshkriri area of Anantnag district yesterday evening. Police said both the slain terrorists were involved in the killing of 1 territorial army personnel on 9th of April last year and the killing of 2 civilians on 29th May 2021. Security forces also recovered an IED weighing about 30 to 35 kilograms, which was defused by the bomb disposal squad.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India and Bangladesh ink 7 agreements. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladesh counterpart Sheikh Hasina jointly inaugurate 1,320 megawatt Maitri power plant. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address plenary session of Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, Russia today. Government to make seat belts mandatory for all car passengers. India's first intranasal corona vaccine gets emergency use authorization from DCGI. ED rates 30 locations in Delhi, Mumbai, Gurugram and Hyderabad in connection with Delhi liquor scam. India and UK conduct counter ransomware exercise for 26 nations. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on 4-day visit to Japan today for second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial meeting. Harmanpreet Singh nominated for FIH Player of the Year Award. PR Srijesh and Savita Punia shortlisted in goalkeepers category. Suresh Raina announced his retirement from all formats of cricket, and in Asia Cup, Sri Lanka beat India by 6 wickets in crucial Super 4 stage clash in Dubai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ वाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the morning news. India's National Security Council Secretariat, NSCS, and the UK government, in collaboration with BAE Systems, successfully designed and conducted the cyber security exercise for 26 countries. The exercise has been conducted as part of the International Counter-Ransomware Initiative Resilience Working Group, which is being led by India under the leadership of National Cyber Security Coordinator, NSCS. National Security Council Secretariat in a statement said that the exercise has been facilitated by BAE Systems through the Immersive Labs platform, and the scenario has been written specifically for the participants based on threat intelligence and operational experiences. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will pay an official visit to Japan for the second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial meeting from today. During the 4-day visit, the ministers will also hold the Defence Ministerial Meeting and Foreign Ministers' Strategic Dialogue with their counterparts. India-Japan Special Strategic and Global Partnership is based on shared values of democracy, freedom and respect for rule of law. During the visit, the two sides will further explore new initiatives to strengthen partnership.
Union Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri met Joseph McMonigal, Secretary General of the International Energy Forum (IEF) yesterday and discussed different ways to navigate the current energy crisis. Hardeep Singh Puri is on a 3-day visit to Italy from the 5th to the 7th of September 2022 to attend the Gastech Milan 2022. During his visit, Mr. Puri also met Klaus-Dieter Morbach, CEO of Uniper Company. Both discussed the current energy crisis and the steps that can be taken towards energy security, affordability and availability. During the visit, the Union Minister will inaugurate the exhibition stalls of Indian energy companies which are being showcased at the exhibition, the statement read. The visit will be an opportunity to highlight India's economic growth story and the investment opportunities that exist in India across the entire energy value chain. Chief of Army Staff of Indian Army General Manoj Pandey paid a courtesy call to the Prime Minister of Nepal, Sher Bahadur Deuba, and briefed him on his engagements in Kathmandu. General Manoj Pandey was accompanied by Ambassador Naveen Srivastav and other delegation members. He conveyed gratitude for the warm hospitality extended by the government of Nepal. Both sides also exchanged views on the extensive bilateral partnership between India and Nepal during their discussions. US President Joe Biden has nominated Indian-American attorney Arun Subramanian to be the US District Judge for the Southern District of New York. A communication in this regard was sent to the Senate by the White House along with other judicial nominations. If confirmed by the Senate, Mr. Subramanian will be the first South Asian judge to serve on the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. Parallel to the political democracy with the independence, the process of cultural democracy also occurred with the entry of All India Radio in the arena of music and literature. AIR brought all precious and mesmerizing melodies of the Indian music, be it classical, folk or film music, to every nook and corner of the country. Every legend in the field of music from M.S. Subbulakshmi, Ustad Bismillah Khan, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi to Lata Mangeshkar. They have invariably performed at the studios of All India Radio. Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke saath, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio. In today's episode, we will bring you the story of two legends of Indian music, M.S. Subbulakshmi and Ustad Bismillah Khan.
In today's episode, we will bring you the story of two legends of Indian music, M.S. Subbulakshmi and Ustad Bismillah Khan. Madurai Shanmukh Vadivu Subbulakshmi, popularly known as M.S. Subbulakshmi, was a renowned Carnatic vocalist, the first musician ever to be awarded the Bharat Ratna, country's highest civilian honor. Subbulakshmi was also the first Indian musician to receive the Ramon Magsaysay Award. Affectionately called M.S. Amma, she mostly sang in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Meera bhajans in Hindi. She was not just the face of Carnatic music, but also a great actor, donning the roles of Meera and Shakuntala on the silver screen. She was the first Indian musician to perform at the UN General Assembly. Shehnai maestro Ustad Bismillah Khan gave a new meaning and prestige to Shehnai, which was traditionally played only during weddings or other ceremonies. He had the rare honor of performing at Delhi's Red Fort on the eve of India's Independence Day, the 15th of August, 1947. He also mesmerized people with his rendition on the occasion of India's First Republic Day, the 26th of January, 1950. His recital had almost become an indispensable part of the Independence Day celebrations relayed by All India Radio and Doordarshan for many years. Ustad Bismillah Khan's musical sensibility and superb vision gave his music its unmistakable ecstasy, beauty and tenderness.
Indian hockey team players P.R. Shujesh, Harmanpreet Singh and Savita Punia have been shortlisted for the 2021-22 year-end FIH Awards.
In Asia Cup T20 cricket, Sri Lanka defeated India in a crucial Super 4 clash by 6 wickets at the Dubai International Stadium last night. Today, Pakistan will take on Afghanistan in the fourth match of the Super 4 clash at Sharjah at 7:30 p.m. IST. Indian cricketer Suresh Raina has announced his retirement from all formats of cricket. In a tweet, Raina said it has been an absolute honour to represent the country and Uttar Pradesh. And now an overview of today's newspapers. Most newspapers today carry the pictures of visiting Bangladesh PM Sheikh Hasina. Modi Hasina seal pacts hail bilateral partnership, writes the Hindustan Times. For restricted use in emergency situations, India's first intranasal vax for COVID gets DCGI approval, writes the Statesman. And finally, 75 years after India's last cheetah died in 1947, 5 of the world's fastest animals to arrive in Madhya Pradesh's Kuno National Park, African cheetahs may arrive on Modi's birthday, writes The Hindu.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and Bangladesh ink 7 agreements. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bangladesh counterpart Sheikh Hasina jointly inaugurate 1,320 megawatt Maitri power project. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address plenary session of Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, Russia today. Government to make seatbelts mandatory for all car passengers. India's first intranasal corona vaccine gets emergency use authorization from DCGI. ED raids 30 locations in Delhi, Mumbai, Gurugram and Hyderabad in connection with Delhi liquor scam. India and UK conduct counter ransomware exercise for 26 nations. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on 4-day visit to Japan today for second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial meeting. Harmanpreet Singh nominated for FIH Player of Year Award. PR Shrijesh and Savita Punia shortlisted in goalkeepers category. Suresh Raina announces retirement from all formats of cricket and in Asia Cup. Sri Lanka beat India by 6 wickets in crucial Super 4 stage clash in Dubai. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.